Shane, after the Green Bay game, you score your first touchdown. You were kind of wishy-washy in what you were doing with the football that you scored with. 3 touchdowns against Carolina. Did you figure out what you're doing with those game balls yet?
So I got the first one painted actually as a first touchdown ball. That one will go in the trophy case. And then these ones I actually kept just raw, just the regular footballs. And same thing, they'll go in the trophy case. But yeah, pretty special to get 3 of them on the same day.
Only the second tight end in franchise history to do that. But you've scored 3 touchdowns in college games before, 4 games with 3 touchdowns when you were at Minnesota State. So as you were eyeing that 3rd touchdown against Carolina, what was going through your mind?
Just catch the football, make the right read, you know, all that kind of stuff, and just, you know, be ready when my number's called.
What prepared you the most, do you think, to maximize your opportunity?
Just being ready and being patient is probably the biggest thing. Obviously, that was, you know, only the 2nd time that I've caught touchdown passes here in Detroit, but it's just sticking with it, keeping your head about you, and just going to work every day.
You had an unconventional path here to Detroit. You started off at Division II, Minnesota State. What was the most difficult part of the journey, getting here to the National Football League?
Just probably getting your foot in the door. It's hard for anyone to make it, and then for the whole COVID thing to throw a wrench in the plans. And I think they kind of stayed away from taking small school guys, just not getting enough film out there. And obviously the level of competition, I think that was probably the hardest part, and I've just been trying to maximize on my opportunity once I got here.
You graduated from Minnesota State in 2019. 2020, you mentioned it was difficult with COVID. What did you do between graduating and then finally signing with Minnesota in 2021?
Yeah, so I actually just worked construction, building houses, building garages, sheds, and doing a little bit of remodeling for a local family guy. He was really understanding of my schedule and knew that I wanted to continue to pursue football.
Were there some days that were just longer where you're like, maybe the NFL won't call?
Yeah, and for that reason, my wife was a huge, you know, integral part of it, just being like, hey, you gotta go work out. You know, you worked out this morning, you went to work, like, hey, you gotta go hit your field work, stuff like that. So just staying on me, so I gotta give a huge shout out to her as well.
Brandon signed with Detroit in early October. How did the dynamic change when it was little brother who was showing him around and showing him the ropes?
Yeah, it's funny because that first day, it felt weird. It felt like that first day of college or something for him. We've never been able to play together, and we've talked about it since we were in 5th, 6th grade. Just something we always wanted to do, whether it was high school, college, or football, and obviously it didn't work out until the NFL, which is the craziest part. Who would have thought? But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome to share the field with him finally. He's been in the league for a while, so he's been able to give me advice on and off the field as an NFL player, and then to finally be together on the same team doing it together, it's just special.
That first touchdown against Green Bay, that was actually the first game that you and your brother, Brandon, were elevated from the practice squad in. You catch that touchdown ball. What was the first thing you did after that?
I ran over to him, and he just kind of talked about how proud he was of me, you know, the journey that I've taken to get to that point, and then to score that first touchdown with him there, being elevated on the same day, it was an incredible moment for us and our family.
4 Zylstra brothers?
4 Zylstra brothers.
Do you guys all get together, watch football games here in Detroit? Have they made it to a game?
They have not all made it to a game. It's pretty rare that we all get together, but when we do, it's special.
Last home game of the year coming up against the Chicago Bears. We're already here somehow. After a loss in Carolina, how does this team bounce back to get a win here at home?
Get back to the basics. Go back to work. You know, we got to forget about the loss, as frustrating as it was, and you know, we have to win out to keep our playoff hopes alive. So basically, we have to win, and that's just what our focus is this week.